A shocking adventure in the far north. The counterattack life of a 46-year-old bachelor. I want to change my life. Experience a world I've never seen before. This is a 46-year-old Beijing man named Li Feixiang. After almost 20 years of mixing in the agency unit, decisions made as life enters the second half. Tired of the crowding and involution of the imperial capital, he felt that there was only a drastic change in the environment to find the peace he craves. He has always had a soft spot for the Nordic landscape. Vast snowy fields, a sparsely populated polar day world, ancient Sami culture. But he didn't choose Oslo or Bergen, one of these popular tourist destinations. Instead, he decided to venture further north. So, he sold the house, take the demolition money, embarked on a journey to Norway alone. After a short stay in Oslo, he transferred to a domestic flight. Fly to the district near Tromsø in the north. There, he rented an off-road vehicle. I am going to enjoy the transition from summer to autumn leisurely. It's the long days of the year. The nights get longer. Locals say the weather can be unpredictable during this time. But it's the perfect time to experience the unique scenery of the Arctic Circle. I'm going where no one else can't. Breathe freely. Li Feixiang secretly made up his mind. Drive north without hesitation. He passed through the city of Tromsø. Follow the road all the way north, passing through the towns and villages of the district of Finnmark. Admire the pastures and harbors dotted along the roadside. But when he drove into a piece, almost nothing is marked on the map. Desolate area. I started to feel a little uneasy. There won't be road closures. It's not winter again, he thought to himself. But in the Arctic zone, the weather often doesn't play its cards according to common sense. About a week later, his off-road vehicle was in the middle of nowhere. Sudden breakdown. It's summer and autumn, on the occasion of the alternation. Storms and rain mixed with hail. Temperatures plummeted. What the hell is this place? He looked through the car window. All you can see is the gray sea. Low hills and sparse pine and birch trees. Street signs are rusty. The handwriting is illegible. He hurriedly pulled out his phone. I found that there was no signal at all. Realized that there is no way to turn to help. A chill hit my heart. Luckily, after walking along the road for about half an hour, he found an old road sign. It says Ganvik. Ganvik seems to have seen it on a map. Probably one of the northernmost villages in Europe. Although the situation is not good. But he was relieved. At least there is someone in the village to ask for help. He turned on the twin flashing lights. Park your car on the side of the road. Pack your bags. Start on foot. The sea breeze is biting. He shivered with cold. But there was a glimmer of hope in my heart. Walked for about 20 minutes. He began to see some scattered houses. Red wooden houses with dangerous roofs are scattered along the hillside. Most of the doors and windows are closed. It seems that this is a sparsely populated village. There are hardly any people to be seen on the streets. It's really helpless. He knocked on a door. A white woman who looks to be in her early 20s. Open a crack in the door. He looked at him suspiciously. Li Feixiang explained in broken English. I am a tourist from China. The car broke down. Please wait, I'll call the village chief. The woman closed the door. It didn't take long. She was taken to a building that looked like a village council. What surprised her? The room was full of women. There were about 15 or 16 people. Ages range from 20s to 50s. Not a single man. What's going on? It's all women. Li Feixiang was very surprised, but he still told his story in detail first. One is about 40 years old. The woman, who looked like a leader, asked in English. You've come all the way. What to do here? We haven't seen tourists in a long time. Li Feixiang smiled awkwardly and said, I just want to travel freely in the Nordics. Look at the map and drive up here. I didn't expect it to be so remote. The car also broke down. The woman pondered for a moment, nodding. The place is remote. There are no garages. You won't be able to fix your car anytime soon. Well, you will stay in our village first. We figured it out. The other women seemed to be whispering. Then an agreement was reached. took him in for the time being. It's been a long time since we've been to Namin. Look at you, don't look like a bad guy either. I can't throw you in this wilderness. But you have to follow the rules of our village. Someone muttered quietly. Many of us have been hurt by men. So after that, no men were allowed to enter the village. Li Feixiang was curious and sympathetic. At all costs, they arranged a log cabin for him. It's not winter yet, though. But the temperature at night is already very low. The sea breeze howled. Keeping warm is very important. The women brought him a sleeping bag, blankets, and some household items. Say whatever you need. But you also have to help us with the work in the village. He readily agreed. That's of course. I can't live for nothing. The next morning, Li Feixiang walked around. Ganvik is located near the northernmost tip of Europe, referred to as extreme climates. Winters are long. There is almost no sunlight. In summer, there is a polar daylight phenomenon. He'd seen a report before. It is said that the village has suffered a serious population loss, facing extinction. Now see it with your own eyes. I feel this even more deeply. There are hardly any people to be seen on the streets. It seems empty. The house is dilapidated. Mobile phone signal is intermittent. He realized. Once the car breaks down, it's really a big hassle. What puzzled him was, why is there not a single man in the village? Last night, the woman who looked like the village chief, Ava's simple solution, explained that due to changes in the industrial structure, young people are going out to work. The remaining men also died of old age or illness. The young men and women are gone, but some women choose to stay and protect the land. But since there are no men, there are no newborns. The bloodline is facing severance. We've always been women living on our own, isolated. It was as if time had stood still, he said. Li Feixiang thought to himself. That's too serious. If only there was no one. The village will soon be gone. The next few days, he saw women in a self-sufficient way, engaged in small-scale agriculture, fishing, and handicrafts. The question is, they had to stock up on enough firewood and food to cope with the long, cold winters. But there was little outside support. It makes them feel overwhelmed. Nowadays, the women take turns to take on the burden. Heavy physical labor that used to be performed by men. It wears them out. Li Feixiang could feel the strong will of the women, but deep down in their hearts, still craving for men's strength and skill. The most important thing is not to have children. Some women in their 20s and 30s said, we also want to have children. But it's not possible. Even if you want to do artificial insemination or sperm donation, the formalities and fees are cumbersome, unless there are men willing to settle here. Otherwise, it will be difficult to start a family. Li Feixiang listened. I feel very uncomfortable. I understand that I have had a family before. I've seen people around me who don't have children, then divorce or widowhood. I can feel the feeling of emptiness a little. The women asked cautiously, have you ever had a story of your own? He was a little embarrassed. Mentioned his divorce experience. Say you're single now. Wandering around, the women gradually opened up to him. Invite him to group meals and meetings. They are like cooperatives. Manage each by assigning resources and income. But there is a lack of professional management experience. Li Feixiang said, I have done business in China. Some experience. I think it would be better if we could operate more systematically. For example, he suggested developing tourism. Ganvik is geographically located on the opposite side. There is potential to create a unique adventure travel destination. Many people come here just to see the northern lights or experience the polar day, even in the summer. There are also many people who want to come and see the midnight sun. The women were a little surprised. Can it really work? Li Feixiang confidently said, of course. The challenge is certainly not small. But polar tourism enthusiasts around the world all love this kind of place. As long as we build a small hotel or do something special, it is possible to succeed. Some of the young women listened. Sounds good, to say excitedly. We can also get involved. You can contact the outside world to renovate the house. Build another website to attract tourists. But we don't know much English. And there's not much money to spare. They are a little worried. Li Feixiong said that I can invest some of the money, and I can help you too. Provide some tips for network promotion and crowdfunding channels. He expressed his willingness to do his part. In fact, he received a compensation payment for the demolition in Beijing. It was originally intended to be used for retirement. If you can do something meaningful with this money, it's pretty good too. After a few days of discussions, the women unanimously agreed that we should try to develop tourism. Fight for the future of the village. Of course, it doesn't necessarily work out. But keep going like this. There is only one dead end. It's worth a try. And we don't have men here. A lot of manual work and construction techniques. It's more strenuous. Maybe Li Feixiong can help us take the lead. They also have a glimmer of hope. Li Feixiong repaired the heating in a house. And doors and windows, the women looked in their eyes. I thought to myself that we really need men. Power. With the launch of the cooperative tourism project, the village began to get busy. Li Feixiong did not hold a leadership position. But in fact, all the women respected his opinion. They contact outside parties to buy second-hand building materials. Get ready to create a modest hostel. Prepare for an adventure in the far north Dreivik. There's a man. The motivation of the women has also increased considerably. There seems to be hope. This phrase can be heard everywhere in the village. Over time, women's attitude towards Li Feixiong. It is also polite from the beginning. Become more enthusiastic. Some young women began to profess their love to him. Invite him for a walk. Or a weekend barbecue on the beach. He was a little confused. But deep down I also felt a little throbbing. He has been single for a long time. And he is the only man in this village. He felt that maybe something would happen one day. Finally one day, a woman in her early 30s named Lisa confessed his predicament to him. Actually, I want to have a baby. But there were no men in the village. Wouldn't it be strange for me to say that? She felt her heart beat faster. Lisa continued. We don't know each other well enough. But most of the women in the village want to have children. We haven't had a man in a long time. Seeing that there are fewer and fewer people in the village, we felt hopeless. Now here you are. We see hope. Li Feixiong was speechless for a while. A few days later, the village chief consulted with the women of the village. A bombshell announcement was made. If you want, most of the women in our village all want to build a relationship with you. Have a baby. He was so shocked. So much so that he took a step back. It's crazy, but Ava says we've been without men for a long time. The loss of population is severe. Even if we find a man from outside to marry, they will also go to the city. And doing sperm donation is also troublesome. So people like you are too precious. We sincerely implore you. He is in his 40s, although married, but always single. No children. Maybe having a baby is a new opportunity, but to have sex with a dozen women at the same time, the thought still made him feel overwhelmed. Is this possible? I can't even handle one person, he said. The women said. We also know it's difficult. But in order to solve the demographic crisis, not one or two people, it's about having as many women as possible who need to have children. If you agree, we'll coordinate the order and timing. Try not to burden you too much. The way they answered suggested. They've been thinking about it systematically. Li Feixiong was completely shocked by the situation in front of him. But he could also feel the desperation of the women. And he may not have a chance in his lifetime. With so many kids, if only I could do something for this village. He was overcome by a strange emotion. In addition, the women emphasize, it's not just carnal desires. Rather, it is a cooperation for the survival of the village. It shook his heart. After a long period of consideration, he finally said, I can't promise to satisfy all women, but I'll do my best. But only if we respect each other. It can't be forced. And you really want to have children. The news quickly spread throughout the village. This man promised to give us a baby. Women in their 20s and 30s almost cheered. Even those who think they can still have children. A woman in her 40s and 50s would like to get involved too. In other words, the majority of women of childbearing age all express their desire to have children. As a result, an unprecedented collective. The pregnancy program begins. The plan was carried out secretly and methodically. Every woman examined her body and commit to following their ovulation period. Spend time with Li Feixiang. The village chief is responsible for coordination. Try to avoid jealousy and arguments. The first few days, everyone is embarrassed. But unexpectedly, everything went smoothly because everybody wants to have children. Continuing the blood of the village, Li Feixiang felt physically exhausted. But the women did their best to be considerate of him, take care of his diet and rest. Sometimes some wonderful feelings sprout. Some girls in their 20s will be shy to ask the leader, "It's my first time. Please be gentle." A woman in her 30s and almost 40s cried, "I never wanted to have children." Li Feixiang listened to the stories of each of them, realized how much they craved children. Eventually, a month passed. It's time to check if you're pregnant. Every woman is used from the mainland, or a pregnancy test bought online, or diagnose yourself with a simple protocol test. The results were astounding. Most people test positive. Really hit it all. Are you the sperm king? They joked. Li Feixiang felt a little embarrassed, but at the same time it is full of joy and fear. I want to be a father to so many children at once. And it's all my kids. Is this possible? But the women were unwavering in their support for him. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. We will raise the children together. You don't have to take care of all the children. This is our joint effort. In this case, more than a dozen people became pregnant at once. And because everyone is a mother for the first time, they need strength and nutrition. Li Feixiang through the cooperative. More food and nutrition were purchased. And step up the preparation of firewood for winter heating, etc. Children are born. They need a warmer environment because they haven't had a man for a long time. So these preparations were neglected. But when she took care of them one by one, the women also systematically participated. Pregnant women walk around the village every morning and evening, touching each other's stomachs and exclaiming, "If we really have children at the same time." That's a lot of fun. But getting pregnant is not easy. Some people have severe morning sickness reactions. Some people get dizzy. Others have back pain, unable to work. Whenever this happens, Li Feixiang will say that you should not work too hard. I and others will help. Share the workload. Thank you so much. We have not had the help of men all this time. I'm so lucky to have someone like you, the women said with a smile. In fact, due to the harsh climate here, winters are long, and everything must be prepared in advance. This is a huge challenge for Li Feixiang. But because everyone in the village is working together, so everything is going well. No great difficulties arose. As the due date approaches, Li Feixiang was busy raising funds, preparing for childbirth. The cooperatives have already made some money from foreign trade. As a result, part of the funds were allocated to purchase delivery supplies, medicines, and a temporary nurse was contacted. He contacted hospitals on the mainland. It was decided to prepare emergency measures, just in case. Whether it's a snowmobile or a helicopter. Of course, it's expensive. But everyone agrees, because the village is about to have a new life. Finally, more than a dozen people were almost in the same trimester. Labor began at intervals of 1 or 2 weeks. The first was a woman in her 30s. Early in the morning, he screamed, "Oops, my belly. The baby is coming out." Li Feixiang and the other women hurried over. Carry her to the hut. They prepared hot water, towels, and medicines. Ask a nurse to assist with a simple delivery. After a few hours of agony, the cry of a baby echoed throughout the village. Born. Everyone cheered. Li Feixiang hugged his new mother. Tears flowed. For the next 10 days, other pregnant women. Labor also began one after another. Gave birth to a baby. There were even 2 people who rushed to give birth on the same day. There was a commotion in the village. Nurse, there's one more person going to give birth here. Wait, you've got to do it first. The scene here was very chaotic at one point. Nevertheless, everyone had a smooth delivery. There were no surprises. Whenever the children let out a cry, the villagers would clapping their hands and hugging. said we were going to see so many babies at once. Li Feixiang has never experienced such a scene. He felt a little overwhelmed. In a week or two, more than a dozen people gave birth to his children. It's just incredible. After learning the news that the mother and child are safe, about a month later, when both the mother and the baby's condition is stabilized, a grand celebration was held in the village. Today is the day we announce the revival of the village. This is the unanimous voice of the women. Long, due to the lack of men and children, and stagnant villages, now with the birth of a dozen babies, an important turning point was ushered in. Wait for these children to grow up. The village will come alive again. In fact, because everywhere there was the cry of a newborn, and laughter, the atmosphere of the village. All at once it became energetic and happy. On the day of the celebration, Li Feixiang realized that he was being treated like a hero. Leader, thank you for giving us the child. The women took turns hugging him, express gratitude. Some even cried. Say that my life's wish is to have children. Now it's finally happening. They can only imagine co-parenting. Now it's finally happening. To know, they have always lived in a world without men. Li Feixiang himself thinks this is a bit like a dream. But he felt a strange sense of accomplishment. He believes that this is the result of the seriousness and hard work of the women. It was also the result of a decision he made himself. Ultimately, a huge bonfire was lit in the center of the village, against the background of the Arctic Ocean. The festivities continued until late at night. It's not like the days when there were no men. Now there is a man. Li Feixiang is the father of many children. Everyone, all of them will be able to enjoy this celebration with peace of mind. The celebration is coming to an end. Someone shouted that let's throw the leader. Someone asked Li Feixiang what is the custom of throwing people. He'd heard it before. He smiled and waved his hand. But there are already nearly 20 women holding hands. Lift him up in the air. Luckily, those women who have just given birth are weaker. Someone else takes the lead. When she's in the air, when you feel a burst of exciting excitement, the baby's cry joins in. A self-contained emotion was formed. When he came down, he choked up and said he was so happy. For the first time in my life, I felt this way. After the birth of children. After the initial postpartum care is over, the women began to run the tourism project in earnest. Now that we have children, let's be serious. The open village welcomes visitors. An Arctic village filled with the cries of children. This in itself is a unique charm. Li Feixiang also agreed, and concentrate on investing in the profits of cooperatives. Slightly improved infrastructure. He contacted small cities on the mainland. Small shuttle buses and accommodation services are available. And planned a winter aurora tour. Midnight sun experience in summer, sea fishing. And a glance at this village is unique. Products of the culture of the large family. He established a travel website in Europe, Ganvik, a remote village near the northernmost tip of Europe. Now there are children there. The village was also resurrected. It reads on the website. Some explorers showed curiosity. Inquiries were sent by email. Women who give birth here. Is it living in a community? What if they ask men? He will only answer. A man settled. The village was rebuilt. In the early days, they only revealed the main story. Because they are afraid that they will say it in too much detail. It will turn into a scandal. With the gradual increase in the number of tourists, profits also increase. Life in the village. It also becomes more convenient with this money. Heating and water facilities have been improved. And appropriations for healthcare and education. Nurses and teachers are regularly invited to serve in the village. As the kids grow, the village is no longer as sad and closed as it used to be. We are one big family. We raise children together, building the future together. They are full of pride. Travelers are also seen by the sight of children running around, as well as them. How to live in extreme natural environments. Impressed. It's amazing. There was only this one man. Raised children with these women. They whispered in their hearts. But on the surface, they welcomed the rebirth of Ganvik. Maybe, Li Feixiang is under tremendous physical and mental pressure. Because he is already middle-aged, but became dozens of children he never expected. Father. However, as women advocate for shared parenting, he did not favor any child. It's about taking care of them equally. At the same time will be a large part of the time of daily life. Spend on cooperative operations and tourism planning. The children's response too. It's all the same. But they usually refer to Li Feixiang as a dad or a leader. And listen to him very much. Dad, can I go to the beach with you? Daddy helped me do this. If you heed these little requests, you don't even know how the day passes. Nevertheless, he's still happy. I've been working hard at home. I never thought about it. I would be in this far north, with such a large family. It's often so touching. I could barely believe him. On the other hand, how women relate to their children. Job. Building a relationship with a man is also an important task. Luckily, this village by agreement. A unique system was accepted. We are all mothers. And Li Feixiang is the father of all his children. Jealousy and conflict may not be absent. But due to the desperation and mutual respect of the community, they seem to live in the absence of major conflicts. On the contrary, when each other is in trouble, they will naturally take turns taking care of the children. And say when you're in trouble, I will take care of your children. Tomorrow I will take care of my children. One night, when the whole village gathers around the campfire, while enjoying traditional dances and songs, Li Feixiang suddenly shouted, "We are a big family. We've proven it. Even on this Arctic beach, we can laugh together, too. Raise children together. Live happily together." Then the women clapped their hands in response. Yes, the painful days without men are over. We were born again when we met you. Some young women shouted, "Let's throw our leaders." Everyone gently lifted him up again. 123. As his body rises and falls in the night sky, the children cheered. It's like a movie. Even after that the village for many years. The changes continue to continue. As the children who have been born grow up, other women want to know, should I try to get pregnant now? Even postponement of childbearing in women. Serious consideration of this issue is also beginning to be considered. Li Feixiang thought with a smile. Can he still handle it? But the women said, then we will try to be considerate of you. As a result, there was a second and third pregnancy boom. Of course, not all of them are pregnant at the same time. But children are born steadily. The total population has increased to 2 or 3 times as much as before. The population of the village increased again. The economy and life have also become vibrant. The Swedish government has again increased the population of Ganvik. Be surprised. Tourism is also developing very well. This village, a big family. Stories of living together in the Arctic spread, although the number is small. But it still attracted a loyal group of fans. Some travelers. To a man with the women of the village. The story of raising children together. Curious. And asked about the inside situation. However, the village side has always drawn the line properly. To say that this is our common choice. Please respect our privacy. When the children reach the age of going to elementary school, the infrastructure has been upgraded. For example, new teachers have moved in. Or the village is connected to a school bus in a nearby city. Li Feixiang was worried. When children reach the age of middle school and high school, whether it is necessary to go to a bigger city. However, it is possible for the government to support distance education or small schools. He decided to continue living in the village. Let them grow here for the time being. Some women choose to go to the mainland for education. Obtain a teaching certificate. Then teach the children directly in the village. In this way, 5 and 10 years passed. Li Feixiang is approaching his 50s, but the number of children increased to nearly 10 or 20 PCS. And everyone, in the joy of playing, the extended family community he co-founded with the women, has become one. Anywhere in the world, none of the special examples can be found, even if the media or documentaries sometimes come to ask. A man, it is possible, and dozens of women, running a village with children. The villagers will say it confidently. We are a mutual agreement and a community of love. What do outsiders know? We are very happy to be like this. Then laugh it off. One night, Li Feixiang climbed to the hillside by the sea and watched the sunset. The sea is calm. Children are running laughing in the distance. A rather large child ran up to him. "Call him Daddy. Are you going to throw me up again today?" When he asked innocently, Li Feixiang smiled and said that he would talk about it then. A couple of women came up and said, "Oh, the child wants to be thrown again. Leader, should we hurry up and throw him up?" The children opened their arms excitedly. Everyone clapped their hands. And so it appeared. The child is with Li Feixiang. A rare scene that is lifted. The children giggled. Li Feixiang smiled and said, "Be careful. Don't fall." As the sun gradually sets below the horizon, the sunset turns red. There, the villagers were excited, talking to each other. The sea breeze whipped their hair. Li Feixiang turned his head to look at the children playing around, and created such a sight for himself. And proud, most of the women gave birth to children, became a mother, and cooperatives and tourism are quite mature. Therefore, they live a comfortable life. Even from the looks, he is not gorgeous. But in this remote village, a dreamlike transformation has taken place. This is a truly large family. It's also a community that's already blended together. When night comes, the sun disappeared completely. A cold wind swept through. Dry Vic. The warmth of the people is even more brilliant. When Li Feixiang holds a baby, when entering a public dining room, the women set the table and said proudly, "How about grilled fish today? We just caught it from the beach." A scene of carefully feeding the children, saying you have to eat carefully, because they raise their spoons and make a big fuss. So it goes on endlessly. It's like a big family. Even if it's a small quarrel, it can be solved by laughter quickly too. They bless themselves to stay in the village, and a moment to build a family in your own way. Li Feixiang enjoyed a night walk after dinner, and look up at the starry sky. He concluded, he will be able to see his life here. Walk to the end, even if one day children go out into the bigger world. He also believes the village is still a home away from home. The women say we have children because of you. The village became prosperous. I don't know how to express my gratitude. They are honest. But he answered every time, I never thought about it. I would be a father to so many children. Maybe I'm more grateful. A touching love flowed between them. Because there are many children. Mom too. So throwing people naturally becomes ordinary. Whether it's a child celebrating their first birthday, matriculation. It is also the cooperative that signs an important contract with the mainland. There isn't even any special reason. Gathering together to celebrate has become a daily routine. Throw people at every celebration. All without exception. Seeing this scene as the children grow up, they learned. Throwing people soon became a celebration of the leader. Li Feixiang said as a lonely farmer, I don't do that very often in China. The women laughed. It's a good thing. That's how we live. As children gradually master the language, they don't just speak English and Norwegian. He even speaks some Chinese. Li Feixiang felt another kind of joy. A child tries to say hello to his dad in Chinese. Hello. Everyone burst into laughter. Children growing up in this multilingual environment, full of curiosity, and it looks like there will be great things to come. There was even an ambitious child who said, when I grow up, I will let the whole world know about this village. This village was once inhabited only by men. It has now developed into a place. A large family with dozens of sons and daughters. Occasionally there will be from the city or other districts. Travelers passing through this village. When they asked, how can you be in such a place, raising so many children? What about men? The women would answer with a cheerful smile. We have our leadership. It was he who saved us. Some were surprised and asked if he was the father of the children. But they didn't say it directly. There have been more than 10 people who have been pregnant at the same time. However, those early travelers realized something special is happening. I usually say it with emotion. Something amazing and wonderful is happening. That's it. In the remote village of Ganwick, the northernmost part of Norway, a Chinese man in his 40s, Li Feixiang, I was accidentally left behind due to a car breakdown, and sparked an innovation. He was with a group of villages inhabited only by women. Living together. Build a new life together. Tourism was created. Economic prosperity was achieved. At the same time, agreements have been reached with many women having children at the same time, thus solving the demographic crisis in one fell swoop. A fairy tale saga is complete. Since then, the village has continued to grow. Be a big friendly family. It's full of leaders, young women, and the laughter of countless children. The story never ends. And they use the throwing ritual every day. Write a new chapter. Thank you for watching today. If you find the video interesting, please subscribe, like, and comment. I will try to bring you more good works.